Now it's my great pleasure to keep you awake before lunch break. And I guess the logistics industry is not the sexiest industry to talk about. I mean, when we talk about innovation in logistics, what people typically mention is the container, and that is already 60 years old. So why do I believe that innovation is important for our industry, and why does augmented reality play a part in that? It's because our industry is changing. If you look at this chart, you see how many startups are all of a sudden being interested in the logistics industry along all different steps of the supply chain. And if you also see what venture capital is actually being invested in this industry, you see that it's becoming much more attractive than it was in the past. And to us, it's always the question, are we the one that is disrupting, or will we be disrupted by one of these startups? We see, or we believe many of them will not see again in 5 years, but if you see some names and the capital behind that, if you see Uber on there, you see this might have a disruptive potential for our industry. That's why we believe we need to use a very strategic way in looking into the future and being prepared. We do that using 4 different sources. We look into mega trends, we look into micro trends in the startup scenes. We work jointly with a broad network of partners, research partners and industry partners, because we are a service industry. So we do, when we talk about new technologies like AR or VR, it's not that we develop them ourselves. We just look for partners and then try to see how can we best apply them in our industry. And we work with customers. I'm heading also the Innovation Center. We have one in Troyes, we have one in Singapore. We're now thinking about one in the US with about 8,000 customers visiting us each year. And we believe that's quite important that you get your customers' feedback to see whether is it relevant for them what you are working on. And we try to make sure by involving them in a highly customer-centric innovation approach. What do we do with these sources? Well, we put them together, and once a year we publish our Logistics Trend Radar, which is our main instrument to look into what's relevant for our industry within the next 5 to 10 years. You see on the left-hand side the social and business trends. On the right-hand side you see the technology trends. And one of the trends that you see on that trend radar is the topic of augmented reality as one technology driver that we see as quite an important trend influencing our industry. What we do with such a trend, once we have it identified on the trend radar, we go step by step. So what's not on the trend radar, we'll just not focus on. The second step is always we do a deep dive into such a topic to understand better what is the trend all about, what are also best practices from other industries. A lot of times we believe that you can learn a lot from applications from other industries. We always showcase those innovations and prototype solutions at our Innovation Center. So if you come visit our Innovation Center, you have augmented reality applications and solutions being displayed because it's very different if you talk to a customer and you have a concrete prototype to discuss than you just use PowerPoints. And the last step, which we also believe is very important, is to actually start early proof of concepts because a lot of times, we just stay on that hype and we don't get to the very tangible use cases. And we believe that whatever you do in trend scouting, you need to get down to the concrete use cases and apply them to your business, test them early and see, does it work, does it not work? Especially in our industry, it's a highly networked industry, so we need to make sure that also the investments that we take, that there are the benefits behind it. So we started the journey with augmented reality in 2014, also looking at the hype cycle at the time. And to us, it was also the question, is this just a hype? Will this disappear again? Or is this something that will stay and that will have an impact on our industry? That's why we did this deep dive. We published a trend report in 2014. And here we also looked at where does the trend come from. And a lot of times in our industry, we look at consumer trends because there typically solutions scale up much, much quicker than an industry and an enterprise application. So we looked at, how is it actually used today in a consumer world, and there we found, we have all these interesting applications, typically used for smartphones and tablets, the ones that you've already seen also yesterday and today, and at the time. I mean, the IKEA app was quite popular. Also, the topic of World Lens and some other applications. And we see, how can we make use of some applications like that in our environment? So we built the first applications in 2014, also built for tablets and smartphones, but that was more from a marketing perspective, so not really using them in our environment. But then we took the next step to think of, okay, what could be very concrete use cases along our supply chain to make use of that. And the good thing about augmented reality is not using tablets and smartphones, but it's really using smart glasses. And that's very essential to our industry because in logistics, it's a key advantage if you can work hands-free. Yeah? If you don't have a paper list in your hand, if you don't have a hand scanner in your hand, but you can work hands-free. So if you do, if you can have additional information using smart glasses, this can make our processes much more efficient and also safer, which is also quite an important topic in our industry. So we looked at the hardware devices that were out on the market. We saw that, of course, the entire hype started with the Google glasses. We saw some applications or some hardware devices that could also be used in industrial environment. And then we decided, okay, let's look for very concrete use cases where we can apply it. And we identified 11 use cases along our supply chain. We published them in our trend report, and that is also something that we believe is quite important, that you talk about what you find out and you get feedback from the network. So what actually happened once we published this trend report, we all of a sudden got feedback from all these industry players and also some niche and small technology players saying, okay, we have this solution and when we see that you're interested in this topic, don't you want to test this jointly with us? So we believe really publishing what you think and getting your network right is quite essential. So we looked into the very concrete use cases, and to us, the supply chain can always be broken down in our warehouse business, so augmented warehouse. It's line haul and transportation, and it's last mile delivery. And we found use cases for each of these single steps. Let me start with the augmented warehouse. Augmented warehouse is probably the best environment to test augmented reality because it's a controlled environment. And controlled environment are always easier to be used if you test new technologies. For augmented warehousing, we see two main applications and two use cases. We see the warehouse operations with what we call vision picking, packing, and sorting. So giving advice to a person what to do for picking, packing, and sorting processes, and also value-added services. DHL is highly involved in aftermarket services and also in value-added services such as assembly and repair. And also here we believe that we can use augmented reality to give guidance to the people that actually do these jobs. So that's one field of applications where we see augmented reality playing the biggest role. Here you see one use case that we actually tested as a first pilot. So we used vision sorting. So we had an application where people actually took a parcel or a product, they scanned it using augmented reality, and then they were guided towards a certain pallet where they need to drop the product. At the time, so that was an application where we used the Epson Movero as a hardware device, and it was our first experience with see-through devices and a pure augmented reality application. To be perfectly honest, this was not too successful, mainly also due to the used hardware, which was not really capable of the rough environment that we're working in. It was too heavy. Actually, it broke down a few times during our test period. And also, the experience that we made is that our workers are not really happy with see-through devices, at least not with the maturity of the glasses that are currently available. So that was our first experience, that even though we always thought we need to use see-through devices, we need to use binocular devices, actually at the time we found out that from a usability of our workers, they're actually more looking for, easy to use glasses that do not distract them all the time. So actually at the time we found out that monocular glasses and not see-through devices are more appropriate to most of the tasks that our workers do. So not the high-end sophisticated technology solution, but more the simpler solution. Also, for the second step of our value chain, for future of transportation, we see many applications where augmented reality can help us to make our processes more efficient and also safer. I mean, we're all used to having our navigation systems in our car. If you look at a typical delivery truck, you would be actually surprised how little technology is being built in. So also here we see things like dynamic traffic support, where we can also show different information being displayed on the windshield as a good way of giving our drivers additional information. Or also the topic of completeness checks, so really make sure if you start a transport that you have all packages in place. Those are just some of the use cases that we see applicable for line haul transportation in our business. And the last topic that we're looking into is the topic of last mile delivery, so using smart glasses for last mile delivery processes. Also here we see two use cases. I mean, I'm sure most of you are still aware of the game Tetris and how to best stack things, and actually that's a task that we have to deal with a lot of times. So how to best stack a delivery van with parcels that you have. So also here we see solutions that you get algorithms that tell you how to best pack either a container, a delivery van, or whatever transport means you're looking into, and use something like a Tetris app and a smart augmented reality application to do that, to help our workers. And the last thing is also, I mean, typically you think somebody delivers something to an address, but an address can be an entire industry field, so not really easy to find the door where I need to really deliver the parcel to. So last meter navigation is also something where we find augmented reality and additional information could be helpful. We tested this actually in Singapore jointly with SAP. So we looked into this topic and saw how can we make it easier for our delivery person, where's the parcel that I actually need to take. Up to 40% of his time he spends searching for the right parcel. So we believe there are instruments that could help him doing this more efficiently. And also when it comes to last meter navigation, we tested this, how to guide him on difficult areas. The most promising use case, though, that we also already looked into in the year 2014 was a warehouse use case. And it was a warehouse use case where we believe that vision picking is the most relevant use case, where we can drive augmented reality from hype to a concrete application. So actually in 2014, we already teamed up with our supply chain division that does the warehousing business for us. And we teamed up with a customer. So also here we wanted to get the customer feedback right away. So we teamed up with Ricoh, one of our customers, where we're running a warehouse on behalf. And we thought, let's equip our pickers with smart glasses and give them additional information so they can do the picking process much more efficient. So we equipped 10 pickers for about 3 weeks with smart glasses. We used the Google glasses as well as the Vuzix M100, and we tested it for 3 weeks. About 9,000 orders were fulfilled and about 20,000 items were picked. Why did we choose this process? Because typically if you look at a current picking process, a lot is being done using, doing manual tasks. So, you need to search for the right trolley. You need to see, okay, with your manual picking list, where do I need to go? You need to look in shelves and find the right product. You need to use your barcode scanner, scan the product, and then looking at your trolley, you need to see, okay, where's the best place where I need to put my trolley. So there are a lot of manual steps and a lot of steps you know, where you can actually have an error rate and that are not most efficient. So we believe that this was a good process to start with to use augmented reality. And we teamed up with Ubimax. Also here, one of the key success factors is that us as a service industry, we need the right partner to actually do something like that. And for us, it is important that we have a partner that knows, okay, what hardware to choose, how to configure a software, and also how to integrate it with our existing systems. Yeah, so here we also believe that if you want to do any AR or VR applications in an enterprise environment, you need to have this system integration approach, because many companies, they do not have the experts to choose the right hardware, to develop the software, and then also find the right interfaces to your existing systems. Here's the user interface that was customized at the time. And here you see a graphic interface of the trolley. So the trolley is actually being displayed in colors. So the person who's doing the picking process sees immediately, okay, where do I need to go to? What do I need to pick? And where do I need to put it? And the good thing here is, I mean, we can actually compare it to other picking processes. Also today, in many of our sites, we have pick by voice installed. So the pickers actually know what to do, but you know, it gets, they're told what to do and what to pick, and also a certain time frame. Here, I would say the main advantage of really using augmented reality is the visual application. So, because I would say, you know, a picture says more than 1,000 words. Once you've seen that picture, you know immediately what to do, and you can also remember it very easily. And the movie that I'm going to show now illustrates quite well how that pilot back in 2014 was successfully deployed. I think we need the sound.
About to take a leap ahead. DHL and Ricoh have piloted vision picking to drive the next wave of supply chain innovation that simplifies operations.
Vision picking is essentially equipping pickers with smart glasses that enable complete hands-free order picking. Today, we're using a mix of handheld scanners and a paper pick list, but we think we can make this process leaner and also more user-friendly by taking a paper and hands-free approach.
Vision picking can greatly increase productivity, reduce errors, and support our employees in their daily work. To find the best solution, we teamed up with Ubimax, the leading experts on wearable computing. Their vision picking solution is the most mature and flexible on the market, and we're easily able to tailor this to our environment and deploy it on the Vuzix and Google glasses.
Now the order picker can easily log in and begin picking by scanning the next available trolley. Using Ubimax's innovative user interface, task information is displayed clearly in front of his eyes. The trolley is also displayed graphically, so that the picker sees instantly what needs to go where. This could provide a much faster, more accurate, and user-friendly approach to order picking compared to standard paper pick lists and handheld scanners. Our first pilot proved a significant performance increase due to time efficiency and error reduction. It also received high scores from the pickers regarding user acceptance and usability.
Here at Ricoh, we're always looking to further improve our processes and implement new technologies into our warehouse. We are proud to have DHL as our innovation partner to jointly test this together.
This is just the first step in our innovation journey. In the future, we see augmented reality also playing a role in other parts of the supply chain. We look forward to continuing to bring innovation to our customers.
So that was a pilot done in 2014, and the results were quite astonishing for us at the time. We didn't believe that we could actually achieve such results, and the results were very positive when it comes to the efficiency gains. We were able to have 25% efficiency gains for the picking process, so much faster, an error rate of 0% using augmented reality. So from an efficiency gains, that was quite surprising. It was very positive feedback from our pickers. Usability was great. After 5 minutes, they were actually able to use the applications because it was a very simple application. Yeah? It was a clear process, and all they needed to do to go to the next step is using voice controlling, saying next. Yeah? So it was very easy. They could also control the speed of the process. So within 5 minutes, they were actually used to the process. And also using it for a complete shift of 8 hours. Everybody was very positive about using the smart glasses. And the user feedback, I mean, one guy said even, hey, this is the first time I have fun at my job. So it was very positive user feedback. That led to us starting a rollout program, which is now being rolled out to various customer sites across the US. We're doing it in the UK and in Benelux. So our supply chain colleagues are actually now doing it on a global scale as a rollout project. And that's, to us, a good example how you can look into a topic. You can start with a trend research, but then you need to come to the very tangible use cases, and then you really need to test them. And some of the lessons learned that we have from using augmented reality in logistics is keep it simple. It's typically not up to the technology, but it's all about usability, and sometimes the more simpler solutions are the better ones. So if you're very strict, this is not even augmented reality because we're just displaying additional information on a small monitor, but it's really helping our people. So if you talk about applying augmented reality in enterprise business, to me it's more giving that graphical support in easy and easy to use way. That's probably better than discussing the latest technologies and what's possible from a technological perspective, but really make it easier for the user to apply. If you're interested, all that we do with our team is published. So also the trend report on augmented reality is available online. We're always happy to partner with other companies. So if you see applications for logistics, we're always happy to do this innovation journey together, because we say the future starts today. Let's shape it together. Thank you very much.